Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Keeper of the Garden. Welcome, Keeper of the Garden. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this broadcast today. It is Friday, 11:30, and I am loving coming here every Friday, sharing my wisdom, my tools, and my gifts with all those who are called to listen and offer support and assistance to navigating the changes that we're going through right now. A lot of us are going through so much change, which requires that we really tap into our own inner personal self-mastery and discover what it is that our intuition really wants to share with us, right? So when I was thinking about the topic for today, well, first, a couple things. If you're here and if you're listening to this, would you please let me know that you can hear me and that you're here, and just say hi and I'm with you. I'd love to receive some feedback, and I'd love to receive that support, just to know that you're there, that you can hear me. So that's great. And just say hi in the feed there. And if you're listening to this later on in the replay, you can also answer any of the questions that I'm going to be talking about today, that I'm going to be asking you, and share it in the feed. And I'm going to go back to those questions later and answer them for you, or at least acknowledge that that you responded here. So I would really appreciate that. I just want to talk about, I live in LaConner, Washington, the Washington State, and we're expecting 8 inches of snow today. And right now I'm looking outside and it's absolutely a winter wonderland. And the weather people are actually correct right now. It's like they are spot on. And how often, do we say that the weather people, they're wrong? But it's snowing, and it is snowing steady. And it looks like we're going to get our 8 inches. The sky is very dark and gray, and the snow is beautifully accumulating on the ground, and it just makes it really beautiful. So blessings again that for those of us that work from our homes, from our studios, and in the studio today, I'm keeping things nice and warm and quiet. So it's wonderful that we have the technology that we have, so that we can still share our gifts with the world and broadcast our message without having to leave at home. Because what if you're stranded? And so thankfully we have internet, and it's business as usual. So one of the things that the topic that I brought today is how to deal with loss. So I've been feeling that many people are right now going through the same thing, and that is dealing with loss, endings of relationships, sudden closures, being cut out of groups, all of a sudden a friendship ending out of the blue that completely takes you off guard and that surprises you. And I wanted to bring this out again today because when I notice a theme like what's happening right now, this particular thing happened to me 3 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. Yeah, it happened to me 3 weeks ago, when all of a sudden someone in my life that was a relationship that I was absolutely 100% never would have occurred to me that relationship was going to end, because all the signs, everything was there. It had staying power, and it had a lot of energy built up, a lot of love, honor, and respect. It was a beautiful relationship. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, this relationship ends. And so that happened to me. And then now, over the course of the weeks, I've been hearing, talking, coaching different people, and it's happening to them too. Yesterday, I did a radio show with Janet Hickox, world famous astrologer, one of my favorite astrologers. we do a show on YouTube called Ascension and Astrology that plays every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So please be sure to tune into that show too, because people are loving it. So we had yesterday on the show quite a few people that brought up this particular theme: the loss of relationship, being cut out of a group, being cut out of a family to where the children won't speak to you anymore. I noticed this situation happening with my sister-in-law. So it's a theme that's happening on a collective scale, and this is happening so that we can really look at where we are with dealing with loss. And do we know how to, are we fully in our grief process? Are we too clingy? How are we responding? And if anybody is here, I would love it if you would let me know in the feed that you're here and that you can hear me. So that would be great. Anyway, so how is it that you are responding? How is it that you are feeling? And if you're going through something like that, also share this with us here in the community and let us know how you're dealing with the loss or what the loss was. And when this Facebook Live is over, it gets transferred onto my YouTube channel, which I would love it if you would please subscribe and share to my YouTube channel. And underneath there in the feed, I will always go back and answer any questions that anyone has around this. So part of what seems to be on the dock right now that we're clearing for the collective is being cut out, losing relationships, and how does that make us feel? And so this is a collective clearing that we're doing, because what we do for one, we do for all, because we are all extensions of each other. We're only mirrors of each other. And so that is an important piece to remember, is that when you're clearing it for yourself, and when you're really fully diving deep into the grief or the pain, and I just want you to know, when something like this suddenly happens abruptly, it can be hurtful. So I want to bring light to asking you the question: is it a toxic relationship? Was the relationship toxic? Meaning that there was a lot of fighting going on, there was a lot of projecting going on, there was a lot of anger going on, and resentment and control and manipulations and abuse. That would be a toxic relationship. So if there was a lot of that going on, then if the relationship ended and it wasn't you ending it, then it was really totally a gift that you've completed that part now, and you're ready to fully step into your self-honoring and into your self-worth, and only bring relationships into your life that reflect that same honoring, that self-love, that amazing high love and nurturing that you are. So if it's a toxic relationship, and a lot of times, when we're in toxic relationships, it's harder because if we would feel like we are abandoning this person. So sometimes they're the ones that are going to cut that off. And if that happens, that is a great thing. And it doesn't mean that it's not painful, because it's still painful, and you still have to do your grieving. So the thing is to dive into the grief and really look at how it is that you're feeling, and really list the feelings. Journaling really helps. Sitting with somebody that you can talk to about your loss, somebody that can witness you in your pain and your grief, how much energy you put into this relationship, and how you tried to do everything you could do to make it work, and it just didn't work. So that you can really honor everything that you want to say about it. but being witnessed. So whether it's you're witnessed by a friend or whether it is, and a lot of times that really helps. But the main thing that I find when you're going through something like this is to really first journal this and work with this energy yourself. I have a wonderful processing technique on my website that's free, the emotional processing technique. And really, that's how I healed my body. That's how I healed my relationships. And that's how I healed myself from the emotional core wounding with that simple technique. If you go to korneliastephanie.com, you're going to see a little box there that says, are you new to Kornelia's work? Scroll down to the bottom. And are you new to Kornelia's work? And then it's going to have these techniques there: emotional processing technique, anger management technique, and I think there's also a fear processing technique. These are practical tools that I developed so that how I helped myself and hundreds of clients be able to really come into their emotional power and emotional intelligence by releasing the charges around what took place. Because anytime that an event occurs, the event is basically neutral. But if you get triggered by something that happens in an event like a loss of a relationship, then and it's really going to depend on where you are in your processing, in your evolution, in your spiritual journey. So it's going to depend on how much work have you done. So there's no judgment. It just is time to release that old energy, right? So process your emotions and journal how you feel. Sit with a friend or call a coach, call somebody to help you work through that so that you can really fully heal and bring your amazing, juicy love into that space after releasing that old energy, right? It's a really important piece with the emotional processing that you allow yourself to dive into the grief. Dive into the grief, because feeling that grief, feeling it is healing it. Feeling it is healing it. It's being totally present with the wounded self that is hurt, the inner child that feels hurt, and your inner parent is coming to the fore and loving you and nurturing you. So this is all part of our evolutionary process right now, that we as a collective are healing all the core wounds, so that we can bring ourselves back into a state of unconditional love, not conditional love. So it was really interesting because the relationship that recently ended, where this came up in my life, was not a toxic relationship. And it really surprised me because this relationship, like I said earlier, had staying power, and there was never a sign, not one sign ever, that this relationship wouldn't last for the next 100 years. So it was really interesting for me to experience that. And when I experienced it at first, I was more shocked than anything. I was so shocked. Hi, yeah, feeling it is healing it. Yep, I was so shocked, and then after a while, I just sat with the disruption, with the energy, and I just sat with what just happened here. And then I journaled about it and processed my feelings. And I noticed that how much wisdom and how much acceptance I brought to this, that this is my perspective and this is this person's perspective. And that we have two different perspectives going on, and we live on a duality planet. And so this is my perspective. And I didn't respond with attacks. I responded with a letter of my wisdom of what I saw. And that was an important part for me because it really helped me see where I was and how I was responding. And I wasn't feeling like I wanted to attack. There wasn't any of that. So this is where it's at, because we have to get to a place of when events happen to us, what we want to get to a place is that we're basically neutral. And that doesn't mean that we don't feel It just means that we feel more and that we're not reacting to what is happening in the world with a projection or anger or resentment, or what's happening when someone makes choices that affect us, but really coming from a place of emotional intelligence and wisdom. And at any given moment in time, we can sit down and journal and bring our wisdom to that space. And like I said, journaling is huge. Journaling is huge, and emotionally processing. That is how I brought myself into this state of unconditional love. I thought about this because I thought, how would I have felt had I not processed the emotional core wounding of betrayal or abandonment out of my physical body? So the opposite of betrayal is trust. And since I cleared the energy of betrayal out of my body, I only trust. There's only trust. There is not betrayal. This does not exist in my reality construct. So the same thing with abandonment, which is another core wound. And I have this in my wholeness certification practitioner course, certification course. Abandonment is another one. And because I don't abandon myself, and because I don't betray myself, this is something that I've cleared out of my emotional body. And now the opposite of abandonment is safe. I feel safe. So when this relationship suddenly ended, I didn't feel betrayed. I didn't feel abandoned. What I felt was that there was a greater plan here that I don't see right now, and that I have to trust that. And what I also felt was that this is an opportunity to bring my unconditional love to the person who I have been in relationship with, that we are now parting ways. That is their choice, and that is okay. Even though to the core of my being, I feel that they made a mistake. So yesterday, even on the show with Janet, when we were talking about ascension and astrology, some of the participants there were sharing about how they felt cut out from a group and the processing that they were doing. We're gonna share that link for that show in this feed so that you can listen to that show, because it was a powerful show. So I just wanted to bring this topic again, that we as a collective right now are healing loss and healing the separation, that we're not separate from each other. We're all extensions of each other, and that there's endings and beginnings in relationship. And sometimes the relationships are toxic that are ending, and sometimes the group energy that is, that you may be feeling cut out from, or a beautiful relationship is ending, is an opportunity for you to process that loss and see how you respond to it. So I hope that this helped you today. And thank you so much for responding here and writing in the feed. Thank you for liking and sharing and subscribing to my YouTube channel. I love doing these videos, and I just want to let you all know that I'm getting ready to, in the next 10 minutes, go to deliver my podcast with Kornelia Springer today on Heaven on Earth, on the Heaven on Earth show. This is going to be an awesome show because we're going to be talking about, it's okay to talk about what you know outside of your five senses with Kornelia Springer. And when Kornelia and I get together, it's always just amazing, amazing wisdom and alchemy. And Kornelia has been there. She is an adept, she is a master, and she knows her stuff. So I love it when she comes and educates. The way that you can get the podcast is go to your iPhone or phone and get your favorite app, download your favorite app, type in Kornelia Stephanie, and boom, you've got the podcast. Also, after the Kornelia Stephanie show, I am going to be on the Millionaire Imprint for women. And I'm going to be with Chris Martin today, and we're going to be talking about the legacy we leave. Now that we have a millionaire mindset, what legacy are we leaving behind? Which is really, really huge. So, two more things I want to say. The links are going to be below, so you can always listen to the replays. If you email me at radio@korneliastephanie.com, I'm going to give you tons of free gifts, like Healing Your Relationship with Money ebook that I wrote, and also 2 PDFs of all of the podcasts from the Millionaire Imprint for Women, so that there is no excuse that how you can heal your relationships with money and grow your money, invest your money, and really move in a right relationship with it and build your foundation on solid ground. So that's radio@korneliastephanie.com. The other thing is, for doing that, I am going to give you those amazing free gifts, and I'd love it if you would subscribe to my newsletter. You can go to korneliastephanie.com and sign up there, or you can text the word Kornelia to the number 22828. And that's it. Gotta go now, because in the next 9 minutes, I'm going to do the radio show with Carlinia Springer on Transformation Talk Radio, when we are going to really talk about, we can intuit what is our intuition telling us, and to talk about it openly. And so this is going to be a beautiful show. I want to thank you so much for being here and for listening. And I will see you all again on Facebook Live next Friday at 11:30. Namaste. Thank you.